guys, we are back for another Dokkan battle video. Today we're gonna go ahead and sweep the GT Red Zone with the LR Goku and Vegeta team. We are gonna go ahead and dominate, disintegrate, and obliterate this entire side of the Red Zone. Now, I do think that the GT side, like, the 7 stages, like, are tougher than the movie side. It's just that the movie side has the hardest fight, Broly, right? Now, the first couple of fights in here are a joke. Remember that LR Goku and Vegeta, with their ridiculous leader skill and their ridiculous link set, they could be very versatile on these teams. And, you know, honestly, the first couple of fights here just stand no chance. This Ledgic fight is just a Monopoly free pass. Alright, now we are fighting Lord Luud, and there's not really too much for me to say. Lord Luud is a, honestly, pretty free fight, right? First phase, physical, second phase, STR. Just bring, like, STR and AGL characters and we'll destroy this guy. We're, again, on this Goku and Vegeta team, join forces is really disgusting. I mean, you know, for the past several months, a lot of us have been saying, oh boy, a Join Forces 170 will be pretty fire. And we could, you know, see with this team right here. So, you know, having like LR Vegeta and Trunks and the Gods and the LR Super Saiyan 4s and just all this nastiness, right? We just obliterate all these bosses, right? You know, the big crits, the additionals, all of it. Like here, Goku and Vegeta are going wild right out the gate. This unit, I feel like I don't use this unit enough, this Goku and Gohan. But absolutely do not sleep on how utterly busted this character is as well. They are ridiculous. But Luud gets absolutely shit on right here at the start. Alright, guys, now we're moving on to the Rilldo fight. Now, Rilldo is definitely a serious fight. This fight is tough. Dude, look at our health. I didn't even notice. Our health is 742,000. Are you kidding me? 742. How in the hell? Dude, with the monsters we have on this team, like Carnival Goku, Vegeta, and Trunks and shit like that, like, you think we're dying with basically 750,000 HP? It's insanity. Like what? Rilldo can be tough, but I mean, he's probably, like, he's not a 1.5 million damage super attacking boss, right? Rilldo can be annoying, right? Because remember, Rilldo does lower defense. I believe him super attacking in any phase lowers your defense. So that, of course, can be a huge concern, but honestly, the team we have is just way too powerful. Here I dusted off the 3rd anniversary LR in Vegeta. Remember that Rilldo is one of the tougher tech bosses in the game at the end of the fight, right? And Rilldo also can lock. So, I mean, that is the thing. Rilldo really, I guess, sort of is a scary fight for this team because Goku and Vegeta, keep in mind, they have their 40% damage reduction for their first 3 turns. After that, they only drop down to 20% damage reduction. So, if Rilldo would lock one of them into slot 1... and then super before they can attack, he probably would one-shot us. Because, again, he does lower defense. So, we really would want to be very, very cautious about putting Goku and Vegeta into slot 3 at all in this fight, right? The good news is how versatile and powerful they are at holding down slot 2. I don't have to float them at any point. So, they're not going to get locked in slot 1 because of that, right? Just as long as we don't float them, right? There's no chance they'll get locked in slot 1. I did actually bust out the Goku and Vegeta from the Resurrection F movie. They are, of course, they're not like the super craziest, oh my god, busted kit unit or anything, but they are very, very strong. And in particular, I love using Goku and Vegeta against these big tech bosses, right? I always dust out Goku and Vegeta when it's time to fight Rilldo and Bojack. Again, these big tech bosses, they can really put in work. I'm gonna eventually, you know, all the 200% teams, we're gonna sweep the Wicked Bloodline red zone with them as well. And, you know, at that full power Frieza fight, we'll probably be using Goku and Vegeta as well. But, alright, here we go. Here was, Rilldo. Again, not really too tough, just the team is just too strong overall. Alright, now we're fighting Baby. Now, Baby can be tough. I actually did lose to Baby. Because Goku and Vegeta, I believe, got super attacked right here at the start by Tech Baby, and then I got super attacked again from Super Baby 1, and we weren't able to transform. By now, a lot of people know the flaws with this Goku and Vegeta unit, right? The thing about them is that if we're not going to take the 7 hits that they need to take, and then do the 3 super attacks that they need to do, right, and we don't, like, transform with them, they can really get touched up by big-time bosses, and Baby is a big-time boss, right? Like, it's so funny. Android 13 just feels like such a free fight, right, on the movie side of the Red Zone. But here on the GT side, this is a tough fight, Baby. It's, you know, once we get to Grade 8 Baby at the end, he does massive amounts of damage in his Grade 8 form, right, with that AoE. His super attack, I think, is right around 1 million damage. He can stun you. This guy is just a real threat. The one thing that's super good about this fight, though, is that they did sort of give us a built-in sort of, like, advantage against this guy, which, of course, is the fact that his last 2 phases are both int, which means you can load up on powerful physical characters and use that to demolish Baby. Now, you know, I have not yet gone through this with Carnival LR Goku's comeback team, powerful comeback team. This fight could be annoying with his team, right? But the only revive character we're rocking here is that Carnival Goku. So, you know, if we, you know, end up going into the turn, he doesn't have his guard, we revive, bam, we're completely good to go. But I could definitely see Grade 8 Baby being a nuisance for that Carnival Goku if he doesn't have his guard up, right? It's basically only an issue if you're using his actual team, right? He is a great unit, but I actually don't really like running 2 of him, because you can get cucked in certain situations with his guard and stuff like that, right? We're using Goku and Piccolo here as well. I do really like the Goku and Piccolo units. They don't really work as well with Goku and Vegeta as I would probably like. I mean, it's Goku and Vegeta have Goku and Piccolo. Their link set is definitely a bit wonky, right? I would be very curious if, like, whatever leader came out... Oh, that's a good dodge right there. Okay. That saves a lot of damage. I would have did 300k, 400k. But if we were able to get a 200% for Goku and Piccolo, which, of course, they're not on the 200% here, and, you know, that leader had a good links with them, too, LR Goku and Piccolo could be interesting. They've got some value. It's just the one thing with them you have to keep in mind is that... after you exchange into Piccolo, that unit can get blown, that Piccolo can get his asshole blown inside out. They did not do a good job designing that Piccolo. A unit who really tapers off defensively these days, it can be very, very risky to use, right? But for the most part, I do think, you know, we are good. The only thing about this, right, is that Goku and Vegeta, I think they will take some decent damage. They might take as much as 80k from Grade 8 Baby's AoE normals if they're not transformed. I mean, we certainly could make the case that Baby's AoEs could be good for Goku and Vegeta to actually get their transformation to occur, but, you know, by that point, with only the 20% damage reduction, with most of their damage coming, or most of their defense coming after they super, Goku and Vegeta could take a huge amount of damage. From Grade 8 Baby, so we'd have to be very, very cautious with that, but we do have just a lot of really strong options, right? We could fuse and heal with LR Physical Gogeta, we could revive with Carnival Goku, right? If the AGL Goku and Vegetas do transform, you know, and then we get access to their active skill, which gives them guaranteed crits for the turn. Just very, very strong stuff, right? Coming into this Baby fight with a really strong team, and we've at least got a really good chance. Alright guys, now we're moving on to the Super 17 fight. And this guy's just got no chance. Just period, point blank. Goku and Vegeta are such a hard counter to Super 17. He just gets completely shit on, right? Like, it's... what is he supposed to do against this unit? Especially if we could transform quickly, right? Like, you know, I have not yet been able to transform on turn 3 of Goku and Vegeta. It is possible to do, though. I've seen people have done it. But, like, if we were able to get something like that off, where our Goku and Vegeta was transformed super fast into this fight, like, they could just take off, like, all of Super 17's health so fast, right? Because, remember, transformed, they have guaranteed crits at 24 key, and then they can pretty easily triple super, right? So, it's like, when they're triple supering, triple critting, and then they have type advantage on Super 17, that boy's health is going to be out of here real goddamn fast, right? So this fight is just a joke. I guess one thing to mention is that characters like the LR Gods, Vegeta and Trunks, their incredibly powerful active skills will not work in this fight. Remember, Super 17 does absorb all Ki Blast super attacks. I actually, so Goku and Vegeta, their active is got to be a beam as well, right? It is, yeah. Goku and Vegeta's active is also a beam super. So these beam super active skills, again, Vegeta and Trunks' father-son Gallic Gun, the LR Gods Gogeta Blue active skill, Goku and Vegeta's, you know, making the impossible possible. All of those are not really able to be used against Super 17. That's kind of one of his tough gimmicks here, but we'll be fine regardless. If it does come to it, remember, we can use Carnival Goku's active skill. Because remember, his is just a melee attack, right? He just jumps in and slaps the shit out of Super 17. So there we go. Super 17 just straight up gets hard counted by this team. Very, very easy stuff. on to the Shadow Dragon fight. Shadow Dragons can be tough. I always like bringing the Tech, Kale, and Caulifla into this fight. Remember that they do start off pretty weak, Tech, Kale, and Caulifla, but they can be really effective if they're able to get some stacks in, build up, and then turn 6 will hit with Kale and Caulifla, and then you could transform into Kefla and you get that huge healing, right? So Kale and Caulifla can be very effective either in fights where we're going up against a very powerful AGL boss, maybe like the Metal Cooler fight. I think the Red Zone Metal Cooler, Kale and Caulifla would be incredible for. Red Zone Broly, they could be pretty effective. And the Shadow Dragon fight, this fight is just so long. I think Full Power Frieza is actually a longer fight than the Shadow Dragons. Red Zone Full Power Frieza, but this is still a long enough fight that, like, right, just bringing a bunch of, like, stacking characters and stuff like that probably is the way to go. But several of the best units in the game now are all stacking, right? Vegeta and Trunks, Carnival Goku, LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, LR Gods, right? These are all characters I've got in the top 5 in the game overall, and they're all stacking. So it just becomes a build a team situation where it's like, all right, well, we'll just toss our strongest characters on here, right? And just go to work. This is another fight, too, where it'll be pretty easy to transform with Goku and Vegeta because the fight is just so long, right, that we should be able to be transformed by the time we reach Ice Shenron. Remember that the hardest hitting enemy in this fight is Nova, who is STR, so again, Goku and Vegeta do sort of counter him. But Ice Shenron, you know, can be very problematic the very last phase because he is physical typing and he does lock. So we would want to be very cautious about getting locked against Ice Shenron, but for the most part, I don't really think this Shadow Dragon fight is really too tough. I think compared to some other fights, this one is certainly not nearly as bad. Again, as sort of like previous like other Red Zone fights. You know, I think Super 17, Baby, and Rilldo are probably all a bit more difficult than the Shadow Dragon fight, right? Just make sure that we're not bringing some int character that gets locked into slot 1, right? Against Ice Shenron, and we should be good. Because, okay, so LR, Vegeta, and Trunks. Remember that deep into the fight, they won't have their guard anymore, but it doesn't matter. Vegeta and Trunks would, you know, they're stacking. I'm pretty certain they'd be able to survive Ice Shenron's super attack by the time we get to him, even if Vegeta and Trunks don't get, like if they get locked out into slot 2 or slot 3. I think Vegeta and Trunks would be more than capable, right, of tanking and surviving Ice Shenron's super attack. So there we go. There is the Shadow Dragons, right? You know, you guys know all these stacking characters, we just sort of are going through the fight, we let them stack, and then we just destroy the end game Shadow Dragons. So now we move on to the final fight, Red Zone Omega. Now, it's funny, I think I only had one loss going through the entire GT Red Zone. I think it was the Baby. I think Baby is the only loss we actually took, you know, doing this challenge. Red Zone Omega, I actually no-itemed him. We crushed him just doing my initial showcase, Goku and Vegeta against Omega Shenron. And I was able to no-item it. Like, that's why, like, if you guys saw, like, I had Ghost Ushers available, but, like, halfway through the fight, I realized, like, oh, shit, we could just no-item this. I'll just go for it. Sure, whatever. And then we were able to get it pretty easily. The reasons, of course, for this, Goku and Vegeta, they probably have, like, the second best roster of any, like, 200% leader. I think Vegeta and Trunks, you can't match what they have, right? Like, I think Final Form Cooler's team just keeps getting insane buffs. It's really good. Again, Goku and Vegeta's team is really good. But, like, you can't match Vegeta and Trunks' team. It literally has everything, right? Like, every Goku, Vegeta, Trunks, and Gohan are basically on the team. Like, it gets pretty insane, right? So, yeah, Omega, right? Like, we have Goku and Vegeta, who are AGL, which is, you know, very important when doing this fight to have tech characters and AGL characters. Or, excuse me, not tech, physical. Physical characters and AGL characters, right? You want your physical characters for the first phase against Omega, the Legion of Shadow Dragons right here, and then for the final phase against Omega, who is, you know, one of the hardest hitting bosses in the game when he does super attack. The thing about Omega, though, is that he does super attack always in the same spot, so we know that we can play around it. Makes it quite a bit easier. We're able to dodge Omega's super, so we don't have to worry about any shenanigans, right? Like Broly, where you have to eat it, right? You cannot dodge Broly, but Omega we can dodge. So it's just really not that bad, right? Like, Goku and Vegeta could go into slot 1 against Sin Shenron, right? What can make this fight tough for other teams is the fact that Omega, right, has the very strong type coverage. You want to come in here with a lot of physical units for that final phase, but then his STR phase can really be a gatekeeper. You know, he could one-shot LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta and do stuff like that, right? So you do have to be a bit careful, but Goku and Vegeta will really help us and really will be able to just completely disintegrate that STR Sin Shenron, right? And again, with LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, Vegeta, and Trunks, all these ridiculously powerful options that we're rocking on the team, we just don't really have too much to be concerned about. We even have the STR Piccolo, the support for movie heroes and stuff like that, so he'll be really good. I remember this, so that Goku and Vegeta, because they get locked in slot 3 right there, that keeps them from transforming. I don't think they even transform in this fight because of that, because they get locked into slot 3, but we're able to prevail. Red Zone Omega is certainly tough, but I mean, these new characters are just so freaking ridiculous, right? So let me know what you guys think of the Red Zone side, the GT side of the Red Zone, completely swept by LR Goku and Vegeta's team. We didn't really even encounter too many difficulties on basically any of these fights. Again, I believe the only loss was to Baby, right? Baby was the only loss that we actually had in the entire run of all 7 stages. So let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch y'all next time.